All right, man. Sean Zittel here with Teofimo Lopez Sr., the father, the trainer.
I'm back. I'm looking younger. You know, I'm working out. Check out those little pops. I still need a lot of work, but I'm getting there.
Man, you you look healthy though, man. You look like you're feeling good.
Yeah, man. You know, I think that fight with Shakur brought me back, man. I think I would have probably died with what I won. So God does everything for a reason. This game is like that, you know. I don't know what happened to my son that night, but we're moving on. You know, my son is no slouch. He takes the competition coming straight. You know, they offered him an easy fight, you know, 2 easy fights for the same money. My son said, no, I want to get the real world championship fight. You know, this is not a bacon title. We fighting the world champion, the guy that beat Ryan Garcia. So it's going to be a great fight, and we're bringing boxing back again, man, because to me it's been boring.
Now, Senior...
and what's the better way to do it with the DAZN, you know, and being partners with them, you know. First time in boxing history with a deal where we go straight with the networks, you know, and the takeover promotions with the DAZN. We're family now, so, you know, 4-fight deal, 18 months I think it is. And let's see what happens. But I think my son is going to do an amazing job within those 18 months. We just want to come back and entertain. That's it. Win or lose, entertain. That's all that matters. But you got to win, though.
You know, of course.
Yeah.
You know your performance. I know you don't really give a shit what people think outside the ring, but your performance when people looked at the instructions between the corner.
Listen, there's no
fight,
instructions because my son wasn't listening to me. He was looking somewhere else.
Did you feel in retrospect you could have done better in the corner, though?
Not really, because there was nothing to do. I mean, I got so desperate that I told him, give me slick boxer Gordo, you know, because the whole point of this thing was what we did in sparring, and that was stay in the back foot and box, you know. From the moment of the fight, he started leaning in. You know me as a coach, I mean, my son never leans in any fight. And that was a weird fight. I think they got my son mentally. I think my son, come on. You're going to put Shakur in the pound-for-pound list, not put my son in there, you know, when he had a better resume than almost every boxer at that point. And then have Shakur winning 4-1, you know, all those things mess a boxer mentally, you know what I'm saying? It's like, well, man, you don't want to give me all this attributes, so, you know, go screw yourself. I'm going to let him win, you know. That's how my son thinks sometimes, you know. He's like crazy like that. And, he didn't box at all. Man, when have you seen my son get hit with the same punch all night? Or, you know, he adapts to fighters. That's what makes him special, you know. After 2 rounds, he already knows he figures you out. So I can't wait to fight this kid in the future. You know, like I said, this is not a race. This is a marathon. They're still young, 28. I think Shakur's like the same age. So we still got 10 more years of this. Let's see who's going to be on top, you know. We made a big deal right now with the DAZN. We know where we don't have to deal with the middleman. Everything stays in the takeover promotion pockets, and we're ready to conquer and take over and be a great family with the DAZN right now.
So you don't think it was that style? Because people look at Sandor Martin, Jermaine Ortiz, guys that fight going backwards on the back.
No, it's not that, because the thing is with my son, he sparred with Shakur before, you know, and to me, he got the best out of Shakur because, you know, they didn't do nothing to each other, but it wasn't like what happened in the fight, you know. If my son would have stood in the back foot and would have just, you know, play a chess match, you know, with Shakur, it would have been a way different fight. That's what we planned to do. We even knew about when he came out. You know, I told him when you come out, because Crawford came in the video saying every time he pops out, hit him with that jab. You know, he didn't say it in that way. He said MF, you know, hit that MF when he comes out. We knew about that. We worked on that, you know. And my son, even Shakur said, the only thing that I understand is that when I would try to knock him out, he wouldn't let me. You know what I'm saying? Which Shakur said that. So it was a bad performance for my son. Things like that happen. We got, you know, I think maybe the weight didn't help him neither. The power wasn't there, the slickness wasn't there, and that's what the thing that hurt me the most, because my son is way faster than Shakur. I know that for a fact. And
but do you feel like it's right that you take in the blame for it too? Not just
but the
him,
thing is,
not
I
just
don't.
your son
How can you
alone?
take the blame when my son was mentally there? You know, they got him mentally. You know, and that's by basically what they did. They even thought that my son was just giving up the fight for money. That's how ugly he looked in there, you know. And how could you coach a person, you know, somebody that doesn't want to listen? But I know what I do. And to me, boxing, I told my son, box. With San Martin, you know, who was the other kid?
Jermaine Ortiz.
Jermaine Ortiz. I was pissed because he was calling him, you know, you gotta just box these guys, you know. If they don't want to fight, the referee's gonna disqualify them. You know, so basically every time my son fights, I want him to box.
That includes this fight with Roelly?
Exactly. Adapt. Now, it doesn't mean that we're going to wait and just stay there and wait, you know. But after like 2 rounds, like my son always figures you out. That's why he's an entertainer. Like, you know, he does things in there that nobody's seen before in boxing.
What do you expect? I'm sorry, because they're rushing us, so I got.
Yeah, nobody.
What do you expect if Roelly fights very patient with his jab like he did against Ryan?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I think my son is more skilled than Roelly. I think my son is faster than Roelly. I think if my son is happy in that fight, he's going to start doing things in there that's going to make the crowd go crazy, like he's done with Josh Taylor, what he did with Loma, what he did with Comey. So I think we're going to see the Teofimo Lopez that everybody expects to see. And, you know, but he has to be mentally right that night, you know. And we're going to do what we always do, you know, give a hell of a performance. And I just want to tell everybody, don't miss it. It's going to be in the T-Mobile. Come and see him. If you're in Honduras, come and see him. Fly in here. Go to Vegas and watch the fight, August 22nd. The takeover, Teofimo Lopez Sr. Let's go. We're back.
So, Teo, just back to the fight, though, man. When it was up there and you let him know, you know, we were never really friends as part of that to sell the fight?
No, but listen to me. It's true. I mean, like, Roelly became good friends with us because nobody knew him, you know, and all of a sudden, right after he fought Tank, you know, it got me upset because he started getting away. Or maybe it was because I did put up the sparring match with him on YouTube, you know, and probably that got him upset, you know. And I mean, I do that. I used to do that all the time, you know, when you know, because I was like, when my son was coming out of the amateurs, so I was like more crazy back in those days, putting up my son's videos because I was a proud father. And I think Roelly got upset of that, you know, because he got really hurt in that sparring. You know, I don't know if
to the
you've
body.
seen it. Yeah, to the
body.
Got him in the body and started beating him up. So I think Roelly didn't like that. And it was bad for me to do that too, you know, but I took it down afterwards when he got upset. But, you know, I think that, you know, he left for a while, so, you know, and he even said that he would never fight my son, but being that nobody wants to fight him, now, you know, we get the opportunity to let them go in there and give the crowds what they want, you know, 2 Spanish guys. When have you seen a fight like this? You know, 2 Latinos, or, you know, top guys, you know, fighting, you know, maybe back in the days with Fernando Vargas when he fought Tito Tier and that, you know, so it's going to be a fight like that. Let's see what happens. Let the best man win. But I got my son winning in a very impressive performance. I think so in the later rounds. But it could be early. You never know.
And lastly, man, because we got to get out of here, I know. Do you think your son is heading into this fight with a little bit more bad blood and serious than Roelly?
Exactly, because you know what? I told my son, you know, like, why we're going to wait, man? You're walking around with a loss. You know, I want you to be more motivated and forget about that loss and forget about that night. You know, we'll get that kid later on in the future if he's still around. And we're just going to keep on going, man. And I think he's going to come back with a hell of a performance, just like what he did when he lost against Cambosos, you know? And he came back with a great... Then he fight...
Came back, fought Kampa, and then he beat...
Yeah, Kampa, and then he beat...
Sandor, and then he beat Josh.
Yeah. Oh, no, Jermaine Ortiz.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah, you know, he's going to come back, man. My son got to be more patient. He's got to mature more. And he's still a baby to me, you know? And I'm going to make sure that he's on his right mind that night. And I should have done that with the Shakur fight. And, yeah, I blame myself, too, you know, because I should have been more concentrated for that fight, you know? So it's not going to happen this time. I've been taking care of myself. No more drinking, no more none of that stuff. So, you know, I'm more focused because I want to take my son to the next level. You know, I think we got 10 more years of this, and I want to be there for him, you know?
Thank you.
Basically,
Thank you,
not only as a trainer, but as his father.
Yeah. Yep.
You know?
Thank
All right,
you,
so the takeover's here, Teofimo Lopez. I can't wait for August 22nd. It's going to be a great fight, so be there or be square. Later.